friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie, yo, 353. Day in the neighborhood. My brothers and sisters, it is that time to get into another one of these true crime, horror, dark, deep, and mysterious what the is going on type of videos. And the channel that we going to today is one of our closest homeboys. And that homeboy is Adrian from Coffeehouse Crime. Back to the Coffee Man, y'all. And the Coffee Man, he got 1.8 million subscribers right now, y'all. He getting real close to them 2 million subscribers. And if you ain't, you know what I'm saying, when you subscribe to the Coffee Man yet, make sure you go to his channel and do. And like I always say, y'all, make sure y'all go back to these original content creator videos and hit that like button on their video too. You know what I'm saying? You gotta send them support because without them, there would be no me. You know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all go show the Coffee Man all the love and appreciation that he deserves. But I digress. I hope y'all doing excelente out there today. And I'm glad you came on back to the channel once again to fuck with the bean. And the title of the video: the evil Facebook killer who came back from the dead, Thabo Bester. Now, I don't know what the hell the Coffee Man mean by came back from the dead, but this evil Facebook killer sound like just one of those classic stories of somebody believing somebody is somebody who they not over the internet. Somebody getting catfished, and come to find out this catfish is a fucking murderer. You know what I'm saying, man? That's why, hey man, I don't care if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. If you don't think just because you see a picture of a motherfucker that's actually them. But I know y'all know that. I know y'all know that. All these crazy ass videos we watch. I know y'all be on y'all guard. But I digress again, my brothers and sisters. We finna go and get into it. But before we get into it, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need. We back to the Coffee Man, my brothers and sisters. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's fucking go.
Using a series of fake Facebook accounts, Thabo Bester became a notorious con artist who ultimately turned to the world of violence and eventually murder. And although he was finally convicted for his numerous crimes, an underground network of fraudsters and even celebrities would help him escape, paving the way to yet more lies and deceit. So, who was Thabo Bester? What support did he find behind bars? And how would this story end? Welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime, folks. My name is Adrian, and today we're looking at the highly requested case of Thabo Bester. And let me tell you, this story never seems to end. By the way, Coffeehouse Crime is all about true crime, strange and chilling stories, and the best way to support me is by subscribing to the channel. So, if you're hopelessly addicted to dark stories or simply like coffee, then please subscribe now. Oh, and also, did you know I've got a very big project coming up soon, but I can't actually tell you about it because it's classified. Saying that, if you want to be the first person to hear about it, then please sign up at coffeehousecrime.com. Anyway, with all of that out the way, please grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat and get ready for the deep dive. This is the case of Thabo Bester.
Get whatever you may need.
Here at Coffeehouse Crime, we are no stranger to the country of South Africa. It's well known to be a rugged and varied land, ranging from the outstanding natural beauty of its savannas to the urban scramble of its bustling cities. Unfortunately, wherever you go in South Africa, you'll find the country is riddled with high crime rates, from minor crimes such as petty thievery all the way up to murder. In fact, despite its incredible topography and beautiful culture, South Africa is known for having one of the highest murder rates in the world. So it's no surprise that we unfortunately find ourselves here rather often on the channel. South Africa's high crime rate derives from several factors, most prominently stemming from its poverty and vast inequality. The country's over
Now, them damn houses just too close together, y'all. Now, that is just ridiculous. They overpopulated like a motherfucker. They might as well just had created one big-ass building for everybody to live in, man. Look how close that shit is together, my brothers and sisters. That is ridiculous, man. Damn, man, I feel for people who gotta live like that. I thank God for the little bit that I got. God damn.
The overburdened criminal justice system is also riddled with inefficiency, corruption, and internal polarization. This information is crucial today, and you will see why. In this video, we're diving into the country's largest city, Johannesburg. Colloquially referred to as Joburg, this sprawling megacity is home to over 5.6 million residents. And one of those living in the city was a man named Thabo Bester. Born on June 13, 1986, to his 16-year-old single mother, Maria Mabaso, his childhood would quickly take an unsettling turn. At the extremely tender age of 1 year old, his mother understandably put him into the care of his grandmother. Raising a child as a young single parent in the poverty-stricken area of Johannesburg was not how she wanted her son to live, and Maria herself had to work extremely long hours just to get by on her own. Needless to say, this was hardly the right time to be raising a child. Having said that though, Maria would eventually have 3 more children after Thabo, making him the oldest of 4 siblings. Anyway, while growing up with his grandmother, Thabo spent most of his time at the Lau family household, who employed his grandmother as the housekeeper. She would often bring him with her to work, meaning that he had a good relationship with the family. Moving forward, the Lau family somewhat took Thabo under their wing. When his grandmother couldn't afford to clothe him, they would help with some of the costs, and they would even cover his daily transport to and from school. As he grew older, Thabo became highly attached to the family and even asked them to adopt him. He further confessed that his grandmother was an alcoholic and that it was very challenging to look after her. And unfortunately, the problems with his grandmother wouldn't stop there. The relationship between her and his mother would eventually become tumultuous. And although his mother would try to visit him often, it would usually result in arguments between both women. By the time Thabo turned 10, he rarely saw his mother. His school performance began to suffer rapidly as a result. So much so that his grandmother saw no point in sending him to school. So at the alarmingly early stage of 5th grade, he became a dropout.
Okay, that's the first fuck up, like major fuck up, man. You let this child drop out of school at 10 years old? That is a huge red flag. He can't be destined for greatness. You doing stuff like that to him. I feel bad that they even allowed that to happen. Like, come on, grandma.
Before dropping out, teachers would describe him as a smooth talker who would say just about anything, true or false, to get what he wanted. Sadly though, around this time, Thabo experienced multiple encounters where he was assaulted by other men, usually those coming to visit his grandmother. His home life became so bad that, by the age of 12, he abandoned it to live on the streets. And shortly after, his grandmother passed away. Thabo became radio silent after this, and nobody could figure out where he went. Not even his mother, Maria, who was desperately trying to find him. Living on the streets, he resorted to petty thievery, doing odd jobs for coins, spending time with gangs or other orphans. Now, unfortunately, gangs often use children to do their dirty work because they can't be convicted like an adult would. And this is how Thabo was introduced to the world of fraud.
Man, I feel sorry for Thabo though. He had a messed up, bad, horrible upbringing. You know what I'm saying? The dude out on his own at 12 years old, dropped out of school, then his grandma died. The only lady that really was taking care of him for real. You know what I'm saying? Even though I just don't like that part about letting him drop out of school. But I'm not trying to make no excuses because we know he finna do some horrible stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making any of this an excuse. All I'm just saying is he did have a horrible upbringing.
Tarbo would often charge fraudulent checks and scam elderly women out of their money. Now, this behavior dominated his life as a teen on the streets. But at the age of 17, this would eventually catch up with him in the form of handcuffs. After being arrested for charges of fraud, he received a relatively short sentence of 6 months behind bars with thanks to his age. And after being released into the custody of his mother, he soon took to the streets again to live a life of crime. Although he spent most of his young life on the streets, Tarbo never actually seemed to fall into poverty. And we know this because he'd always wear expensive clothes and have the latest generation of iPhones and laptops. Now, I'm sure I don't need to tell you where all of these luxury items came from, as clearly Tarbo also had a knack for thievery which held him far into his adult years. If you haven't already twigged from the title of this video, I'm sure you can take a guess on how he found his unsuspecting victims. And of course, that was via the largest social networking site at the time, Facebook. Tarbo created a fake Facebook account where he posed as a modelling agency, where he would then go on to contact young women with the promise of modelling jobs. To make everything seem legitimate, he would usually arrange to meet his victims in fancy hotels. The thing is, he wasn't guilty of just fraud and theft alone. Sadly, Tarbo was also a violent type of criminal, and once he had the women alone, he would often pull a knife on them and make them hand over all of their valuables. And just so you know the frequency of his crimes, he would allegedly steal 2 to 3 laptops daily. In many of these cases, varying degrees of violence were used, thus perpetuating the vicious cycle of abuse. Once an innocent child who experienced violence and abuse is now a terrible man who inflicts these things.
And I bet he don't have no emotion about what he doing, because like the coffee man just said, once he was a child feeling these people do this type shit to him, and now he doing it with no emotions. It's just like, it's an endless cycle, man. I hate he got in this situation, but I do not condone what he doing.
Sadly, this is not the only way he would scam, abuse and rob people. In fact, Tarbo had 13 accounts for his many different schemes. These included fake accounts of him posing as a housing manager, all the way through to an heir to an obscenely wealthy family. Tarbo was an excellent liar and improviser, and could be extremely persuasive when he wanted to be. And as you can imagine, this made him an extremely proficient conman and fraudster. This sort of behavior carried the man well into his 20s too, allowing him to steal the equivalent of tens of thousands of dollars from others. And due to his many aliases, the police always failed to track him down. If it isn't clear by now, the man was living the high life springboarded by crime. Tarbo would stop at almost nothing to get what he wanted, whatever that may be. And sadly, South Africa would eventually learn just how far the man would go in order to achieve his darkly selfish desires. September 21st, 2011. Found north of the city lies a chic residential coastline named Sunset Beach. And thanks to its beautiful location, several small hotels are dotted along the shore. It was on this morning that Tarbo approached a receptionist working at one of those hotels. The man claimed to be a guest from one of the rooms, and told them that he had to leave early on important business. Saying that, he also highlighted that his girlfriend was still in the room sleeping, and he asked them not to disturb or wake her until after 2 p.m. Not seeing anything suspicious about this, the receptionist accepted Tarbo's comments before watching him leave the main lobby. However, as the time approached mid-afternoon, nobody was seen leaving the room. With growing concern, the front desk employee asked the manager if she could take the keycard in order to check in on their guest. But after knocking on the door several times, there was no answer. Taking matters into his own hands, the manager opened the door to see what was inside. And after he did, he was met with a dark and harrowing reality. Lying face up and half-dressed on the bed was the deceased body of a woman, and she was staring at him with a vacant gaze. Now, it was rather obvious that she was stabbed in the chest, and this was likely the way that she'd passed away. But who she was anybody's guess. And whoever that man was at reception early that morning, nobody knew. It wouldn't take long to identify the woman. Having checked into the hotel under her real name, authorities learned that the body belonged to 26-year-old Nomfundo Tulu, a young model who lived nearby in Johannesburg. By now though, Tarbo was long gone, and although he had bought himself some time, the police soon identified him as their primary suspect. But how exactly did the pair know each other? And was this another one of Tarbo's scams? Well,
man, rest in peace to her, bro. Rest in peace to her. But this shit right here sad, y'all, because it's like you seen this shit coming from a mile away ever since he was a child. And he's stealing and, being a con man and scamming people, okay. But now he robbing people, then he go to robbing people. Now he done went to freaking murder, man. I hope this was the only murder that he committed. I hope it ain't more, but it just, you think about it, like he just keep getting worse and worse. So I'm pretty sure he gonna try to murder another person. Damn.
As it turns out, the pair actually initially met in person. It was back in January of 2011 that Thabo met Nomfundo while she was working at BMW in Sandton, Johannesburg. The pair hit it off and exchanged numbers rather quickly, and whether this was true romance or just in Thabo's better interest, we will never actually know. Even after moving back to Cape Town, the two kept in regular contact, and eventually a romance blossomed. I mean, we all know that Thabo is trouble, but we also know that he was rather deceptive. And so it's no wonder why Nomfundo felt quite safe in his presence and didn't realise he was dangerous. And so, after months of a long-distance relationship, the two eventually decided to meet in a hotel in Cape Town. And, as we know, after this, Nomfundo's circumstances nosedived in an instant. Although Thabo was now in hiding, police knew how to coax him into broad daylight. All they had to do was play into one of his scams.
Yep.
Only 2 weeks after Nomfundo's death, Thabo was back to business as usual. But just 1 month later, in October of 2011, officers finally caught him in the middle of one of his schemes, thus bringing down a notorious fraudster and murderer, and revealing the details behind Nomfundo's death. As mentioned before, the two had been messaging each other for several months, and after arranging to meet in Cape Town, the two planned to spend some quality time together. Unfortunately though, instead of flirting, the two began to argue while at the guest house, with the topic being Thabo's ex-girlfriend. With the argument escalating, Thabo grabbed a knife from the small kitchenette, and after realizing what he was doing, Nomfundo fought back to gain possession of the knife. Tragically, Thabo had the upper hand and ultimately stabbed her in the chest, and despite her being gravely wounded, he refused to help Nomfundo. Instead, he tried to interrogate her for the passwords to her phone and laptop, and only after she succumbed to her injuries, he took all of her valuables and fled the scene. Thabo's actions show how little he valued the lives and well-being of others, which is one of the many reasons why this case became so notorious in South Africa, and headlines calling him the Facebook killer were seen everywhere. Despite the grisly details, Thabo would go on to deny any intention in killing Nomfundo, and an interview with Thabo shows him speaking alarmingly casually about her death.
And I feel that my rapes, especially the rape, because the murder, I feel that it was just a pure, we fight over a knife, somebody gets stabbed in the process, and it was not, if I wanted to stab her, I could have killed her in Durban, I could have killed her the first night we got to Cape Town. So that was not my intentions at all. If I wanted to kill her, I could have got her into Mthatha, where there's much less people, and got her into a bush BNB there and killed her there. So my intentions was never to kill anyone. My intentions were, with her, was straightforward. I liked her, and things got twisted whenever they got twisted, and we had a fight. The knife got out of hand, she got stabbed, I got stabbed in the process. I tried to stop it, and there's no one in this world, and there's a knife involved, and I'm wanted by cops. If I went to the cops and said we had a fight, she got stabbed in the process, no one was going to believe me. So that's the first thing, because I thought of that. That was the first thing to do, obviously, wake up the owners of the BNB and let them come, and then call the cops and get an ambulance there. But I thought if I do that, it's like me saying, okay, I did the murder. You understand?
Motherfucker, you did do the damn murder. Everything he just said right there really ain't make no damn sense, bro. Y'all fighting and a knife involved. So, what you mean, Thabo? You accidentally killed her? It's like he was avoiding the fact that, bro, you killed this lady, bro. At the end of the story, however the fuck it happened, you stabbed this lady to death. And I don't even believe it was no big fight like that. And like he was saying too, that he ain't never had no intention to murder her. Okay, that may be true, but it just take 1 second, one snap of a second before your intentions just can completely turn. You probably didn't have the intention to murder her when y'all got into that hotel room or whatever. But something happened and you snapped and you killed her, bro. Point blank, period. Let's go.
The story does not end here, by the way, but in cases like these, where the killer seems so profoundly evil, it can be easy to lose focus on their victims. Nomfundo Tiolu was a beautiful young woman who grew up in a close-knit and loving family, which she sadly leaves behind. And although she was preyed upon by a monster while working a sales job to get by, her passion really was in the world of modelling. She joins the long list of female victims of domestic violence in South Africa, which sadly is an ongoing national epidemic in its own right.
Rest in peace.
Moving into the legal proceedings of this case, I'll keep things short here, because we have some rather insane details still to cover in this video. After being arrested in Durban, authorities were quick to build a case against him, which comprised of murder charges and 2 counts of assault. And after a year of preparation, pleas and negotiation, Thabo Bester pled guilty to all charges laid against him, in order to save himself from the death penalty. Ultimately, Thabo Bester was given a life sentence, plus an additional 25 years for robbery, theft and fraud. And after his sentencing, he was officially imprisoned in the Mangaung Correctional Facility found in Bloemfontein. And here, Thabo would remain for many years. And as the years passed by, Thabo tried his very best to behave. Being the con man that he was, he did such a good job at convincing others that he was reformed, that in the year 2013, his sentence was reduced to only 30 years.
Oh, hell to the no. What the fuck, man? I'm just sitting right here happy his ass and got life in prison, and now he in it. He goddamn conning the government. He conning the system. This man is, wow. 30 years? How you go from life to 30 years? Yeah, this shit finna get crazy now, y'all.
Far cry from the life sentence he initially received. Now famously, not much happens behind bars, but it became evident that, somehow, Thabo was still actively connected to the outside world. In the background, he once again created several fake accounts to organize a fraudulent building company. This would be with the help of so-called celebrity doctor Nandipa Magudumana, a friend that had known Thabo from her years in university. It's kind of crazy, but she was a well-known and respected doctor on social media, accumulating more than 150,000 followers on Instagram and almost 14,000 on Twitter. On both of her profiles, she flaunted herself as one of the top 20 most influential young South Africans in 2018, which is actually quite the achievement. But saying that, it does beg the question, why was this successful young doctor and entrepreneur in cahoots with someone like Thabo? For whatever insane reason, even after Thabo's charges were made public, she tried her best to get in contact with him. And once she did, she would even visit him in prison. Nandipa had very expensive tastes. She lived in luxury homes, rented private mansions, and drove around in swanky sports cars. Yet, despite her success, it clearly was still not enough. You could even say that greed got the bester of her. The two soon found themselves romantically intertwined with one another, which honestly sounds just as revolting as it is complicated. And are you ready? Because here is the big and sudden twist in our story today. Because on May the 3rd, 2022, and 10 years after the man was initially sent to prison, guards were suddenly alerted to a situation that was happening in cell 35, which, by the way, just so happened to be the cell of Thabo Bester. Inside number 35, guards horrifyingly discovered a body. Thabo Bester had been burned and charred beyond all recognition, and once the smoke was gone, it appeared that he had taken his own life. With a rather distant family, Nandipa came forward instead to identify his body. She claimed to be his customary wife, and therefore that it was unnecessary for his family to claim his remains. A family that, apparently, hadn't heard or seen Thabo in a very long time.
Time the fuck out. Adrian, the coffee man on his Mr. Ball and shit today, y'all. Because I already see it. That man goddamn set up there, he faked his death. Now I understand it. Now I see why he came back from the dead. Now it's all making sense. Because that ain't his damn body, man. That man escaped prison with the help of that damn lady. Wow, Thabo, like, this man is like top of the line. Like, he a candidate for Con Artist of the Year. Jesus.
Then one day, when my mother's already buried, I don't know about Thabo. I'm looking at the TV. When I'm looking at the TV, there's Thabo. He's in Cape Town. Now Thabo knows in Cape Town. I don't know Cape Town. I haven't got family in Cape Town. And then they say he must go life sentence. I don't know. He murdered his wife of what? I don't know what was it. And then we got shock. Me, I get a stroke. Baba, Naka Swanky stroke. And when I finish have a stroke, I go to the hospital. Hi, Tabo's in jail. I send my second born, Tabo's sister, to go to the prison here in Joburg to go look for him because me, I can take it. And she go there. And then when she come back, she said, hey, Mama, Tabo's there. I asked him why he do that. He said, no, he wasn't right. Why he wasn't right? Now he's right because he did it. And then this is the last time. And my child died.
Your other child.
Hey, the lady.
Now, surely that's the end of our story, right? Tabo is dead, the body's been identified, and there is a small sense of justice for Nomfundo. Well, actually, you'd be sorely mistaken to think so. With positive identification of the body, authorities almost didn't bother to do any sort of DNA analysis. However, thank the caffeine lords they did, because the results would be groundbreaking. You can probably see where this is going, but analysis would confirm that the DNA of the body did not match the DNA of Tabo's mother. To make things even worse, it wouldn't be until journalists publicly exposed this information before authorities actually took it seriously. Now, I want you to think about that detail for a moment, because this basically confirms that authorities would rather wipe their hands clean than let everyone else know that Tabo had escaped prison. And if that ain't fucked, I don't know what is.
That's a great fucking point, man. If it would have never got out to the public that Tabo would have escaped, them damn police would have never did nothing about it. That man would have just been free after actually killing somebody. The government be fucked up, don't it, y'all? They do some fucked up shit, man.
Instead, journalists and the public alike rallied in assuming that Tabo Bester was still alive and somehow, with the help of accomplices, managed to escape prison. And now, terrifyingly, he was back to living his life amongst the free people and could reoffend at any time. In fact, this picture, which was captured 2 months after his supposed death, and in none other than Sandton, which is where Nandipa lived and worked, shows a man bearing a striking similarity to the escaped criminal. The journalism side would also go ahead and publicize the autopsy report, which was made on the charred remains found inside cell 35. The report would confirm that the skull of the deceased man was fractured, and that they had died of blunt force trauma to the head before being burned. Not only that, but the body was found to be 145 centimeters, while Tabo stood at more than 170. For you Americans, that's 4'9" versus 5'7". Through rather minimal detective work, it became quite obvious that this was not their man. So, several big questions remained. First of all, who was this victim? And second, how did he get into prison in the first place? After significant DNA testing, the body was identified to be 33-year-old Katlego Bereng Mapolo, who had died shortly before due to an accident in the city. It was also confirmed that he was supposed to be stored at a government-owned morgue. Now, obviously, his family were distraught to learn of the news. And as for the rest of the country, well, they were scared to realize that Tabo was out there. The government, though, stayed alarmingly quiet on the matter, and wouldn't officially declare anything until March of 2023. It was at that moment that they confessed that Tabo Bester had escaped from prison, and further declared a 100,000 rand reward for any information that would lead to his arrest. Converted, that's $5,300 or £4,300. Things would remain silent for a while, but eventually, several people came forward about a man they had conducted business with. You see, Tabo and Nandipa had been running a scam company named Aaron Properties ever since Tabo found himself in prison. And now, with the revelation that he was indeed alive, his clients became suspicious. But by the time officers became privy to this information, Tabo and Nandipa had vanished. A service announcement was shared across all police departments nationwide, but sadly, it was too late. Our two criminals had fled the country.
And then I gotta say something about the damn lady too. Why she's a successful lady, you know what I'm saying? Why the hell you fucking with this damn con artist, thief, rapist, killer, murderer, crazy motherfucker? Why the fuck you fucking with this man? Like, that shit weird as hell to me too, y'all. And another question that I got is, how in the hell did Tabo get that damn body into his cell? Like, a prison guard or somebody had to been help them do that shit. That's weird too. This is weird. Let's see how more weirder it gonna get.
This part of the story takes us 2,000 miles north to the beautiful country of Tanzania. Often forgotten about on the world stage, Tanzania is one of the most underdeveloped countries in the world. And with such little technology here, Thabo and Nandipa were in the right place to disappear. But on April the 8th, 2023, just 1 month after the government's official announcement, our two lovebirds were finally caught with their pants down. The two actually had plans to flee to Kenya, but were stopped in their tracks. By the way, it turns out that Thabo was never officially documented as a South African citizen, and instead was actually in possession of an American passport under the name of Tom Williams Kelly. Seriously,
Wow.
with the number of aliases this guy had, I'm surprised he could even remember his real name. Following the arrest, investigators would eventually piece together what happened after May 3rd, 2022. It was eventually learned that, alongside 7 other accomplices, Nandipa orchestrated Thabo's great escape, which involved stealing a corpse, infiltration, bribery, and deception. Investigations found that some of the wardens at the security firm, which also ran the prison, named G4S, were in on the plot too. Not particularly comforting knowing that there's so much corruption going on there, but hey. Nandipa's father, who was a businessman and also a former teacher, also helped by pulling a few strings for his daughter. This was a very well organised and, frankly, bizarre escape plan, all to get a former fraudster and murderer out of prison to conduct more fraud.
Crazy.
In the midst of the panic and commotion, Thabo managed to sneak out of the prison while dressed as a security officer, fully equipped with a uniform and a fully functioning card. His girlfriend, Nandipa, then picked him up. Upgrading his living situation from a prison cell, he then went on to live in her luxury rented mansion in the Hyde Park area of Sandton, which of course can be found on the outskirts of Johannesburg. From here on out, he lived an exuberant lifestyle, filled with luxurious sports cars, gourmet food and designer jewellery, all funded by his many fraudulent businesses under yet more falsified names. And although the authorities were aware of the DNA mismatch, no further progress was made until a journalist's public expose. Thabo was spotted only 2 months after his escape, shopping at a Woolworths in Sandton, confirming that he truly believed he had gotten away with everything. However, his real mistakes was trying to cross national borders after his arrest warrant was issued. Of course, at this time, his face was on the front of every newspaper across Africa. Now, moving into the second set of legal proceedings in this case, things are quite hazy to say the least. Thabo was already charged with the murder of Nomfundo Tulu and 2 counts of sexual assault, and so his life sentence that was previously reduced was now fully reinstated. And it might seem obvious to say this, but he was then transferred to a higher security prison found in central Pretoria. His accomplices would be the real ones to stand trial this time, including his girlfriend Nandipa Magudumana, her father Zolile Cornelius Sakalini, and Senoe Matsoara, a former guard at the correctional facility. With all of
And it's so man, this dude is the greatest scam artist con man ever. Look how many people he got like doing his deed. You know what I'm saying? Helping him out of this situation. Like, not only is it the damn girlfriend who's so successful, she a beautiful woman, she got money, she got everything, but she wanna fuck with this asshole. Not only that, but some kind of way Thabo convinced her damn daddy to help. Like, what the? I don't know. I don't want to talk Thabo. Thabo got put a damn fucking spell on you or something. He put the hocus pocus on your ass and get you to just believe in anything he say or something. That man got superpowers. This man is a comic book villain.
of this happening just last year, their trials are yet to begin or conclude. But it turns out that Senoe had been distributing bribes to other employees in order to aid investors' escape, which included opening gates and disconnecting security cameras. Although Nandipa was the mastermind of his escape, she denies any responsibility, and instead claims that she was kidnapped by Thabo and forced to help him against her will. Which of course, and just to let everyone know, is absolute bullshit. Luckily, the court saw right through her lies, and she was denied any chance of bail. Court proceedings for the remaining accused are still ongoing, with fraudulent earnings giving the three enough money to afford good lawyers, which sadly seems to be making their prosecution all the more difficult. On the bright side, it's now clear that Thabo will spend the rest of his days behind bars. Unless, of course, he pulls another escape scheme out of the hat. But for his victim, his life sentence at least gives her family and her memory an element of reinstated justice. Yeah. And although not much is known about Nomfundo, it is clear that she was an aspiring young woman who never deserved her fate. And yeah, that's pretty much the case of Thabo Bester. Hopefully we won't have any more updates to this case. So I think I'm going to wrap this one up here today, folks. Thank you so much for watching today, I really do appreciate it. Before you go though, I'd love to hear what you think about this story. So my big question for you today, folks, is what do you think about Thabo's sentence before he escaped? Do you think that he should have had his life sentence reduced down to 30? That aside, what do you think about his great escape plan? I mean, I know it was elaborate, but he actually had help from small celebrities in South Africa. I'm still struggling to think how those two even exist together. Anyway, as always, please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I really do appreciate it when you leave your comments. Again, I've got something huge planned for the channel, but I can't quite tell you what it is yet. It's classified. If you would like to be the first person to know what's going on, then please head over to coffeehousecrime.com and sign up. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the end of the video, folks. Thank you so much for watching today, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. As always, I'm back very soon for another video, but until we see each other again, remember to look after yourself, look after each other, and of course, stay safe. Thank you, and goodbye.
Man, rest in peace to Nunfondo, man. That's just where I want to start it off, because Thabo got so much shit going on to you'll not forget, but you will, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, man. Y'all know what I'm saying. That is the main focus, that lady lost her life more than anything. But as far as like this Thabo dude, he is the biggest goddamn con artist freaking I have ever seen. I know I might be exaggerating a little bit, but this dude got, like, what the fuck kind of, like, how much smooth talk could he be doing to people to get them so convinced and all this shit, man? Like, this dude here was wild. I didn't expect it to get this damn deep and this crazy, man, especially when he broke out of prison, man. And the fact that he had all these different people working for him, helping him do the shit. And the fact that this lady, I don't remember her name, but the lady that had some money, why in the hell you fucking with this damn motherfucker? Like, what the, like, this don't even go together. Like Coffee Man said, this don't even make sense. And it just all tied back to that he was just a great fucking con artist. Like, he knew how to scam people and just manipulate people. He was great at manipulation. That's another thing I should say too, y'all. Man. I digress, my brothers and sisters. Like this, I don't know, man. I don't know what really to say about Thabo, man. Other than this dude should be nominated for America's, well, not America, the world, the whole wide world, scammer of the year, for real, man. Worldwide scammer of the year. Wow, man. It's just so much shit he did, y'all. Even with like the passport and acting like he from United States that way. He, like Coffee said, he probably got to the point where he forgot what his real identity was. Using all them different names and shit. I don't know, man. I don't know. The last thing I will say for real, y'all, is I do hate the fact that the fucking police let him out in the first, not let him out, but just reduce his sentence to 30 years in the first place. The government or whatever. Like, that was bullshit. And now when he get out, y'all catch him again. Now y'all want to give him life. He should have kept life from the beginning. That's the bullshit part of the story. That's the bullshit part of the story. But I digress, my brothers and sisters. I'm gonna let y'all go now, man. We have been here long enough. I appreciate y'all being here as always. Y'all make sure that y'all hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that. And come on back tomorrow so we can go to who? Mike from that chapter. Going to Mike tomorrow, y'all. But until then, my friends, you know I gotta say this. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.